What happens when suppressed desires, jealousy, and madness collide? This is the moment where everything unravels. Sister Ruth stands in the doorway, her pale, sweat-covered face illuminated by the flickering light, the vivid red of her dress, and lips a shocking defiance of the nun's vows of modesty. In her wild, unhinged eyes lies a storm of rage, jealousy, and longing. She watches Sister Clodagh ringing the chapel bell, a symbol of control and discipline, ready to strike at any moment. It's a moment of unbearable tension, a stillness charged with impending chaos, a visual and emotional crescendo that encapsulates the story's haunting exploration of repression and psychological breakdown. But how did we arrive at this climactic confrontation? To answer that, we must trace the threads of forbidden desire, simmering envy, and repressed emotions meticulously woven throughout Black Narcissus, all culminating in this explosive scene which we will come back to. Black Narcissus is a visually stunning psychological drama from the legendary filmmaking duo Michael Powell and Emeric Pressburger. Based on the 1939 novel by Rumer Godden, the film explores themes of isolation, desire, and spiritual conflict, set against an exotic and forbidding backdrop.
Look, you must get away from here, all of you, at once.
Run away?
Yes, if you've got any sense.
What, leave all this work like the brothers?
Yes. I told you it was no place to put a nunnery. There's something in the atmosphere that makes everything seem exaggerated. Don't you understand? We must all get away before something happens.
The film starred Deborah Kerr as Sister Clodagh, as the idealistic leader of the nuns trying to maintain authority and order. Kerr was on loan from MGM at the time, and this film cemented her status as a leading lady in Hollywood. David Farrar played the British agent Mr. Dean stationed near the convent. His blend of charm, confidence, and cynicism made Mr. Dean an enigmatic and provocative presence for the sisters. Kathleen Byron delivered a tour-de-force performance as troubled and tormented Sister Ruth, and it's often regarded as the highlight of the film.
You have let yourself fall into thinking too much of Mr. Dean. Sister, don't you realize what you're doing? What you're running the risk of losing in yourself? Sister, I must make you see before it is too late.
All the same, I've noticed you're very pleased to see him yourself.
It's also a masterpiece of design and psychological depth, brought to life through the collaborative brilliance of its creators. Production designer Alfred Young, in his 8th partnership with directors Michael Powell and Emeric Pressburger, won an Oscar for his evocative creation of the Palace of Mopu and the Himalayan landscapes, all filmed at studios in England. Jack Cardiff's Technicolor cinematography, which also won an Oscar, immerses viewers in a world of vibrant contrasts and layered symbolism. Together, the visual narrative is both breathtakingly beautiful and deeply unsettling.
Let me help you. What is worrying you?
I remember things before I joined our order. Things I wanted to forget. I never thought of them until now. I've been 21 years in the order, and now they come back to me.
Set in 1947, the year of India's independence from British rule, the film follows a group of nuns tasked with transforming a former house of concubines into a convent. The design reflects the film's central themes of conflict and duality. The nuns' stark white habits contrast with the palace's sensual wall paintings and the vivid natural surroundings. Sister Clodagh's character becomes a symbol of these contrasts, caught between light and shadow, discipline and desire, east and west. Powell and Pressburger's artistry heightens these elements, enveloping the audience in the film's psychological and physical landscapes. The palace itself functions as a character, Its ornate painted walls and shadowy corners seem to embody Ruth's unraveling psyche, becoming an extension of her inner turmoil. As Ruth's obsession with Dean intensifies and her mental state deteriorates, the palace's vivid designs and claustrophobic spaces mirror her growing instability. Cinematographer Jack Cardiff's use of Technicolor in Black Narcissus is nothing short of revolutionary, transforming the film into a visual masterpiece. He was heavily inspired by the works of Vermeer, Caravaggio, and Rembrandt. These painters were known for their masterful use of light and shadow, which Cardiff incorporated into his cinematography to create the film's rich visual texture. This translated into using soft pastels to evoke serenity and explosive bursts of color to signal emotional and psychological turmoil. This intensifies the film's drama, particularly in scenes where characters' inner conflicts manifest in their environments.
How dare you come to our service tonight? You're unforgivable. You're objectionable when you're sober and abominable when you're drunk.
Costume designer Hein Heckroth amplifies this in the transformation of Sister Ruth, who, consumed by her inner turmoil, dons a blazing red dress and applies vivid red lipstick using a crimson compact. It is a hypnotic moment, one that marks her full embrace of sensuality and madness. The red dress is charged with a devilish, almost vampiric eroticism, symbolizing her complete rejection of her former life.
Why should we want to keep you here against your will?
Because you're all jealous of me, especially you.
Ruth's transformation crescendos in her climactic confrontation with Clodagh. Her movements, erratic and zombie-like, reduce her to a specter, more an embodiment of malevolence than a flesh and blood character. Her shadow stalking Clodagh across the palace walls mirrors the audience's growing dread. Directors Powell and Pressburger heighten this tension through their use of light and shadow, making Ruth's actions feel both inevitable and otherworldly. Returning to the climax, Clodagh rings the convent bell, reciting the Hail Mary in a desperate act of faith. She remains unaware of Ruth's presence. The sound of the bell shatters the stillness, acting as a trigger for Ruth's rage. What follows is one of the most intense sequences in cinematic history, a terrifying collision of light, sound, and movement. The camera captures the chaos with precision. Ruth has gone over the figurative edge and is trying to push Clodagh over the physical edge. This heightens the mythic proportions of their conflict. It is no longer just a battle between two women, but a clash of opposing forces. Faith versus temptation. Discipline versus chaos. Good versus evil. The music for the film was composed by Brian Easdale. The music for this sequence was composed before the film was shot, so the actors could be choreographed to it, ensuring maximum drama for this pivotal scene. This was the 11th film produced by Powell and Pressburger's celebrated production company, The Archers. It marked their first major project after World War II, moving away from wartime propaganda. Through its writing, directing, and performances, the pure melodrama of Black Narcissus weaves a captivating story. When it was released in 1947, the movie was both a critical and commercial success, earning widespread acclaim for its breathtaking use of color, meticulous production design, and groundbreaking cinematography. The title, Black Narcissus, taken from a fictional perfume in the story, becomes a fitting symbol of the intoxicating allure that permeates every frame of the film, an allure that ensnares its characters and ultimately leads to their emotional and psychological unraveling.
Do you like it, Sister Ruth? It's called Black Narcissus. Comes from the Army Navy stores in London.